Good morning. This is Sunday morning. I sure am glad to be with you today. I hope today is a wonderful day for you. You know, this is the first Sunday of the new year. And as I have often said, on today, nobody has been absent yet. We don't have one absentee yet in the year of 2026. And so we can start the year off right in the house of God. I hope you will. And at our church, our Sunday school begins at 9:30. I don't know about where you are, but we'd love to have you come and be with us. And church service begins at 10:30. And so we would love to have you. You know, today, as this new year began, uh, some people are suffering physically with things that happened just in recent days. And boy, what a way to begin the new year. But I know this, God is in control, and we trust him for everything along the way. And so I trust today, if you're one of those that is in the throes of something that seems to be negative, you just trust God. God's going to bring you through, and he's going to take care of it. And so I trust that today we might see that, and let's just be faithful to him this year. I hope you will. We're going to be talking for the next few days about encouraging other people and examples of how someone encouraged others. You know, in my lifetime, I look back on it now, and it's easier to see from this side than it was from the other side. But I think all along the journey of our life, there have been people who encouraged us and helped us along the way. A great coach recently was talking about his success as a coach, and very, very successful coach. He said when he was growing up and playing sports, his father was his coach for much of the growing up years. And he made a statement. He said, when I was growing up, he said, man, we would play, and he said, win a game, I'd go home, and he said, my dad was telling me what I could have done better. He said, one day I said to my mother, I don't understand it. He said, we win, and dad comes at me and he's talking to me about what we could have done better. And she said, son, she said, he's not trying to get you to win. He's trying to get you to be the best you can be. Isn't that exciting? You know, our people are want to help us. Well, let's be a help to somebody else because they can do their best for Jesus today. And so this week we'll be talking about encouragers. And I hope sometime this week, maybe you'll take just a moment to think and thank others as they helped you along your way. Who helped you get to where you are? Who helped you along your way and encouraged you in your life? Well, let's think about that, and let's give thanks for them. In just a few moments, our text will be in Isaiah chapter 41, and I hope you'll stay. I love this passage of scripture. It is so plain about the help of others, and I think you'll like it. I heard about a youth pastor. He grew up in a very, very rough neighborhood in New York City. I mean, it was a mean neighborhood. All the stuff that went on, just unbelievable. It was a tough, tough neighborhood. Well, anyway, he was talking to his youth group about this, and he said to them, he said, listen, in your growing up, he said, we're always thinking about what we want to do. He said, but he said, what we really need to do is, he said, we need to have a skill for your life. Learn to do something. Have a vocation. And some of the kids were asking him, like what? And he said, well, he said, you can learn auto mechanics. You can learn plumbing. You can learn be an electrician, learn to be a hairdresser, learn anything, but have a skill. And he said this, if you have a skill, it will help you in your life. And he said, some people will try to say to you, man, that's not important. Just live your life. He said, but you need to understand, as you get a little older, it's going to help you find a good job and provide for your family. And one of the younger teens in the group said, but Pastor, why is it so important that we learn a skill? I'm having a hard time with that. And so the youth director again said, well, he said, because when you start to look for a job, if you have a skill, it will help you get a job and help you take care of your family. And because then you don't have to steal from people. Well, in his growing up, that was the alternative. Either you have a skill or somebody's going to be stealing from somebody else. And so we don't want to steal. The Bible says, let him that stole steal no more. But doing what? But working with his hands provide. Our text is found today in Isaiah 41. And the Bible says, keep silence before me, O islands, and let the people renew their strength. Let them come near, then let them speak. Let us come near together in judgment. Who raised up the righteous man from the east, called him to his foot, gave the nations before him, and made him rule over kings? He gave them as the dust to his sword, and as driven stubble to his bow. He pursued them. He passed safely, even by the way that he had gone with his feet. Who hath wrought and done it, calling to generations from the beginning? I, the Lord, the first, and with the last, I am he. In other words, God said, I'm the one who's done it. The isles saw it and feared. He says, the ends of the earth were afraid. They drew near and came. They helped everyone his neighbor. And this is what I want you to get today. They helped everyone his neighbor. And everyone said to his brother, be of good courage. That is encouragement. So the carpenter encouraged the goldsmith, and he that smootheth with the hammer, him that smote the anvil, saying, it is ready for the soldering, and he fastened it with nails, that it should not be moved. Now notice what he says in this passage. They helped everyone his neighbor. And then everyone said to his brother, be of good courage. Now he's not talking about his siblings. He's talking about his brother in the work. And notice what he said. The carpenter encouraged the goldsmith. He that smootheth with the hammer, him that smote the anvil, saying, it is ready for the soldering. In other words, they each did their part and encouraged the others to do their part. Too often we spend our life looking only at what we have or the goals we have for our life and family. Selfish living and thinking is the norm of this generation. This has been called the me first generation, and too often that title fits. I was talking the other day with a manager, and his insight on accomplishing tasks was great. The little irritants of life should never cloud our vision of what is the overall goal. I love team sports, and because they teach the concept that the goal is more important than individual achievement. In our text, the Bible tells us that the different artificers encouraged each other. In other words, the carpenter didn't say to the person who's working with the metal, my job is more important than yours. No, he said, I want to help you. I want to encourage you to be the best you can be. The guy who was working, smoothing the metal, did not say to the one who was the blacksmith, my job is more important for yours. No. In fact, what he's saying is in this passage, he's saying, I am going to make sure my is ready for you. Think about it. In our text, the Bible simply is saying something in our world today. It would be the painter encouraged the carpenter, and the carpenter encouraged the plumber. They encouraged each other because they saw the overall goal. Think of that in the church. Sunday school teachers, ushers, singers, and all members should be encouraging one another. Many years ago, the black singer Mahalia Jackson wrote the words to the song, If I Can Help Somebody. It has been used thousands of times, but the words are very applicable to what we're saying today. She wrote, if I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, if I can show somebody he's traveling wrong, then my life will not be in vain. If I can do my duty as a Christian ought, if I can bring salvation to a world once wrought, if I can spread the message as the Master taught, then my living will not be in vain. Think of all that could be accomplished if we spent more time encouraging others instead of critiquing them. There will always be room for improvement, but there is a greater need for encouraging words. All this week, we are going to be looking at encouragement that was given to others in the Bible. That should be our goal. Paul, in Romans chapter 16, talks about several people that he mentions, and specifically, he calls Aquila and Priscilla my helpers in the faith. Think of that. He mentions some who refreshed him, some who encouraged him, some who were co-laborers in the ministry, but he was quick to acknowledge that he had helpers. It is always a blessing when a person who achieves some great work or some wealth or position or whatever gives honor to those who help them on their journey up. Because all of us have had some who helped us along the way. In church, there are many who are helpers in ways others do not even see. They do not know. They don't know what goes on, but they are an encouragement to those who do know. I read this poem that was written by a man named Lloyd Taylor. He said this, there are some people that we know found in needy places across this land. They're people that selflessly serve others, always ready to lend a helping hand. We may know them by their many titles, chief bottle washer, soup kitchen cook. They may be young or old, male or female. In serving others, each has found their nook. Kind-hearted helpers, tireless volunteers who lend a hand in every capacity. They seek no earthly reward, no fanfare, give help no matter the adversity. Here's to all of the wonderful people who unselfishly have chosen to serve. May these words offer some recognition and give the praise they so richly deserve. Too many people never take time to think of those along the path of life who have helped them and encouraged them. I heard a man who had become very successful in business say that when he was younger, he was always a failure at everything. He barely made it out of school, and it seemed like everything he tried, he was a failure. But he said, there was one person in my life who never gave up and always was encouraging him. And he said it was his mother. He said at every time it seemed like I had reached the bottom, he said my mother would come and say, son, everything's good. You keep going. You're going to make it in this life. And this is what she said. You can do it, son. Never give up. She encouraged him to find the path that was his path. And when he did, he became successful. And that was his work in life. He did and always gave his mother thanks for never giving up on him and encouraging him. What a blessing to be an encouragement to somebody and to help them to go on for Jesus' sake, to go forward. I read this thought and I thought, man, what a great thought it is for every one of us. A lesson that is often forgotten is this: encouraging others will strengthen them, but it also strengthens us. We can strengthen ourselves as we strengthen others by encouraging them in the work for Christ. God bless you for listening today. Hope you'll join with us in the morning, 8:30, right here. God bless you today.